All right, worksheet 60 brings up a question. Number 4, it gives me two terms of an arithmetic sequence and it wants me to find the formulas for it. All right, so that requires we know the first term and what they're adding every time. Since they said arithmetic, I know they're looking for a D here, and not an R, because that would be geometric. And then I'm also trying to find the first term. So usually I could brute force this, right? This says the 15th term is that number. So like if you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way up, 15th term would be this number. And then it tells you that the 39th term would be this number. So there is some ways to kind of brute force this to figure out like how much distance is between them, and then divide that, which how far apart the two numbers that the values actually are, and then you can find out what D is, and that would definitely work. But probably the way I'm going to do it here is I want to show you just using the formula that you know. So you know this formula, and now we're not summing yet, we're just trying to find out stuff. So A1 plus N minus 1 times D, we know that, but we don't know A1 and D. Those are the two things I want. So if I can make two equations, this would be great. And I actually can, right? If N is 15, I get that number. So negative 76 thirds is equal to A1 plus, now N is a 15, so 15 minus 1, I'm going to do in my head, 14 Ds. I know that's true. And I have a second equation right here that says negative 196 thirds is equal to A1 plus, now 39 minus 1 is 38, 38 Ds. And now look at that. I have two equations with two unknowns, which means you could solve a bunch of different ways. So you pick. I'll probably use linear combination, because the A1s would cancel. So if I change this to subtraction, so that gets a sign change, this gets a sign change, this gets a sign change, and if I bring this down together, now I can make an addition because I changed everyone's signs. What is that? That's a 120 over 3. So 120 over 3, which is just 40, equals, those guys canceled. And then this looks like a 38 minus 14 is what? 24? So negative 24D. So 40 is equal to negative 24D, which means divide both sides by negative 24. And I all of a sudden have D. D is, what is that? 20 over 12 reduces, I know it's negative, 10 over 6, 5 over 3. So negative 5 thirds. Looks like they are subtracting 5 thirds every time. So now I could make the list, or even better, I can go back to, let's say, the first one, and I can say negative 76 over 3 is equal to the first term plus 14 times negative 5 thirds, which probably doesn't look the best, but let's try. This will help me find A1, right? Minus, because it's going to be multiplied. 50 and 20 is 70, so minus 70 thirds, which means I'm going to add 70 thirds to the other side. And I'm going to get A1 equals 6 thirds, or 2. Wait, it was negative, right? Negative 6 thirds, so negative 2. So that is the first term. So now I got the first term, which means I can make an equation for this. A sub n equals the first term, negative 2, plus n minus 1 times d, which we discovered was negative 5 thirds. Now that is the bad manners form of the explicit formula. Explicit, right? That's the bad manners, because I could clean this up a little bit. I could say an equals negative 2 minus 5 thirds n plus 5 thirds. And then I'm like, negative 2 and a 5 thirds need to be added together. So that would be negative 6 thirds plus 5 thirds is negative third. So an equals negative 5 thirds n minus a third. So there's my explicit formula. And then my recursive formula, recursive, not such a big deal, right? Recursive just means you have to know the first term. So you always have to say A1 equals, tell me what the first term is. We know the first term is negative 2. And then you say the next term is equal to the term in front of it. And then just tell me what they're doing, right? Tell me what they're doing. They are adding, subtracting 5 thirds. So minus 5 thirds. And that's all they do. So there's my recursive formula. right? They have the first term, and then they just keep subtracting 5/3 after that, and then there you go. So there's your recursive. All right, I hope that helps. Stay happy.